as the gloom and shadow were thickened behind him, in that place where it had been gathering so darkly, it took, by slow degrees, an awful likeness of himself.
James Swanton is an extraordinary actor. Solo performances are always a really good way at showcasing the skill of a performer, and James is something else. He performs with the Charles Dickens Museum every year. He performs Christmas stories live on site. And so for a virtual performance of The Haunted Man, we knew that James would have such a charismatic performance. It was something that really we wanted to share with as many people as possible.
The Haunted Man was Dickens's 5th Christmas book, so it came out in 1848, and it tells the story of Professor Redlaw and a ghost.
Ghastly and cold, colourless in its leaden face and hands. This disillusioned, deeply depressed chemist called Stephen Redlaw associates Christmas with all of his bad memories, all of the sorrow, wrong and trouble in his past. And this manifests as him being visited by his own ghostly double, who whispers these horrible things in his ear at night. But on one of the ghost's visitations, he puts forward an offer, which is that he, the ghost, will remove all of Redlaw's sorrow, wrong and trouble, just wipe his memory clean of all of these aspects, and the rest of the story focuses on the after effects of entering into this rather weighty bargain, and peril ensues.
What's really interesting about The Haunted Man is that there are some parallels with Dickens's own private life as well. So Redlaw, the main character, he is haunted and saddened by the death of his sister, and in 1848 Dickens's sister Fanny, who he was very close to, also died, so you can see the reflection of that within the novel.
The Haunted Man is almost a strange choice when it comes to doing a Christmas story by Charles Dickens. It's much darker, it focuses on sort of quite scary themes, ghosts, but also poor mental health, struggling, pain, but ultimately it's one of the most powerful stories I think Dickens ever wrote. It calls for hope, it calls for joy, it calls for love amidst a really terrible backdrop, and I think that's a message which is so powerful in the modern age that we really felt we had to do it.
Right. Tried to give them something of the flavour of Victorian stage productions of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, so it's pure acting, pure theatre, and hopefully the sort of theatre that Dickens, having done his public readings where he was always deep in conversation with himself, playing his various characters, hopefully it's the sort of theatre Dickens himself would be able to recognise.
Even if you've never read a Dickens story, if you really find it really difficult to follow Dickens's novels, James is such a charismatic way of performing that actually you can follow the story wonderfully just by watching him perform.
Beyond anything, at its core, despite all these wonderful trimmings, you have a deeply, deeply human story. It just happens to be told by a master storyteller, who is, of course, Charles Dickens.
Say, is he done?